Okay, so I'm going to load up this first notebook here. This is what we used before. And we're going to be using basically the same parts here, but we don't want to use all of this notebook because it is 120 megabytes. And also, our GeoJSON file is 28.2 megabytes, and we can't upload a file more than 25 megabytes up to a standard free GitHub file. So we are going to be taking some things from here, but we're not going to be running anything, and that's really important. We are just going to be putting in the code. So I'm going to make another one here, and because it's going to be the front facing, I'm going to call this the median renter wage map. And we are going to need those, our libraries, and we will call in our files. Actually, in this case, we are going to do one thing here. I'm actually going to zip our GeoJSON file here for this one, because we don't need to read in the file from scratch. So I'm sorry, you can't see this because I got to do it in another window that I didn't have set to cast. But I'm just basically just going in that folder, and I'm right-clicking on our GeoJSON map and sending it to a compressed zip folder. And for this one, we are going to need to import a zip file. And let me go ahead and do that now. And basically what we're going to do is we're just going to import zip file. And for our for the file that we're going to use, we are just going to go ahead and have it read the zip file that we just made. So with zip file, dot zip, come on, zip file, and main map one zip, and we'll read that, very similar to our GeoJSON in a way, as zip ref, zip ref dot extract all. And that should be good. And now we're going to use this to read our and we're doing this because we need the map file to be very, very compressed when we load this up into our GitHub repository. So we are going to need to read it with GeoPandas. So we're going to just do gdf1 equals gpd.read file, and it's going to be main map 1 dot. Let's see here, should be GeoJSON, yeah. GeoJSON. Ugh. And we will need to, after that, actually read in the file to a new file name to get it into the actual, like that GeoJSON format. Oop. Sorry, I'm just copying and pasting from another notebook. And then we're going to just read in our existing file, pd.read csv main table 1. And after that, we should be fine, actually, for everything else. Let's see here. There's one downside to reading everything, or not reading everything in here, but we already have everything compressed what we need. So let me just make sure, because we are going to need to copy and paste from this notebook here. That should read in all of our tables and all of our maps. With open main map JSON 5. We are going to be writing it to map6.geojson, so there we go. And after that, we should be good to go for this. And I am going to make one more test notebook so we can actually read this out, or we can see how this is all going to play out. There is an error that I caught before. And let me just go ahead and copy all of this over, and I'll explain what it was that I found. So basically, what I found was that I realized that I made my my data thing F1 instead of DF1 last time, and then when I tried to switch it over, for some reason, it didn't want to work. So I'm just gonna. The real simple fix here is just to go ahead and rename DF1 F1 instead. So this should all work here. I'm probably gonna have to cut the video for time just because it's gonna take a second to load everything in. But I will come back with the finished project. And as it turns out, later on, I forgot to also apply the same change to the main notebook. So I did do that afterwards. I just kind of forgot in this video. So yeah, just want to mention that. I had to do this after I filmed it. There we go. Okay, perfect. Alright, so the reason why I did want to have this here like this, I'll show you. We'll compare the untitled notebook to the median renter wage and size. Untitled is 3.51 megabytes, and the median renter wage is 2.7 kilobytes. So very, very small because we haven't actually run anything. But we know what's going to happen when we do. So the next step here is going to be very simple. Yeah, let's go ahead and save that, I guess. Oh god, right. It is such a big file. There we go. Never mind. So, what we need to do next, I'm going to shut down all of my notebooks here, and I do need one other thing, which is going to be a requirements file, which we will get to right after this. And then after we have the requirements file, we will load up our main map zip, the main table 1 CSV. I'm not going to load up main map 6 GeoJSON because that's going to be created when we go through, and then this table, or this file here, will go in. But let me show you how to do the requirements real quick. Okay, so this definitely isn't the optimal way to do it, but it's the easiest way right now that I can find. So in your Jupyter notebook, after we ran the test thing here, I just did %sign pip freeze requirements.txt, and that is going to load this requirements file here, which is really just every library that I've ever downloaded. But that's fine because that also tells me the basic standard that I have, the basic versions that I have right now. There we are. Okay, so basically I actually only need the libraries that I'm working on here, so you can get rid of everything that isn't GeoPandas. Oh, let's see, Pandas is next, I think. Well, let me make sure here. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, so alright, but because JSON is built in, I don't actually need that one. And that's why we're going to go down to Pandas. And after Pandas, Plotly. And then I think zip file is already in there. I don't think it's actually one that I can put in. Yep. There we go. So that's our requirements file, and we're going to need that to make the binder run. Okay, so the next step is going to be super easy. I have already created my GitHub repository here, but this is all you have to do is just put everything, make your standard GitHub repository. There's the main map zip, main table, median renter wage map.ipython notebook, and my requirements text. And the requirements text is needed whenever my binder goes to make this thing. So mybinder.org is basically kind of a way to share notebooks to get them to run so that you can actually change the code a little bit without actually screwing up the main GitHub repo. And of course, for my purposes, it's just simply easiest to say, hey, look at this is what we've done, and it runs a little bit easier than just trying to go through a GitHub repository. And of course, if I'm talking to somebody who has no Python experience or no coding experience, then this GitHub repo is kind of pointless most times. But it's incredibly easy. All you have to do is copy that in, hit launch, and it's going to take a minute to sort of load everything. And we're pushing, already built, that's good, here we go. This first time is the worst, I promise. And we are loaded, right? Yes, perfect. Okay, so now we have our binder open, and now I'll show you. It's very simple. Sort of for the people who don't normally use this. This is where I would cut, or where I would copy the link at the current time and then share it with I don't know, your mom or your friend who doesn't use this kind of thing, if you wanted to show them that now. Hi Mom, hi Jason. So, before I get too far ahead of myself, I do need to copy this binder link. I'm going to go back to my GitHub repository, and we are going to edit this to include that link. And let me go ahead and commit changes. So, if you wanted to share this with somebody, you could share your GitHub repository, which in this case is the README, the Plotly map 1 here for this. This is the link that you would share it with someone. So, when your relatives go over or whenever anybody, your relatives, coworkers, whoever, goes to view this, they'll click on this link. It'll load like this. It'll take a minute. Then I'll get frustrated and I'll cut the video to speed things up. Alright, so it automatically loaded where we were before. And you're just going to click on the median renter wage right here. And then you're going to hit the run button. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And I'm going to cut this here as well because it's going to go through all of these steps. And once the steps are completed, it's going to display the map, and that's where I'll come back in. It's going to take a minute to load everything. There we go. All told, I think that took about maybe a minute and 15 seconds, which is actually a little bit long than what it usually does. So that might have just been my computer running slow. But here's everything. Works just like we did inside of the regular notebook, and now you can share that link with just about anybody. Just make sure that you explain to them, just hit that run button and everything, and that's that. So, yeah, thanks. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time.